Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about my story, healing from anxiety and digestive issues, and how those two were kind of correlated. And my intention with this video is to help you heal from anxiety as well, because anxiety only exists in the mind. It's always a fear of something that hasn't happened, something that is a pure illusion because the future in itself doesn't even exist. And I know what it feels like to live with this crippling anxiety every single day. I know what it feels like to have digestive issues because of it. I had them for decades, so I know the suffering that comes along with this, let's say, condition. But I also know that we have everything inside of us to heal it. So let's first start with what anxiety actually was for me, how it showed up in my life, and also what kind of programmed me into being an anxious person in the first place. So based on my understanding, anxiety can only exist when we are stressing about the future. In the present moment, anxiety cannot exist. Anxiety is always a fear of something that hasn't even happened. So for me, anxiety would show up quite early when I was at school. I was super scared of public speaking. I was scared of, holding presentations in front of the classroom. I was scared of getting picked by the teacher to say something in front of the class. And to me, this anxiety was also linked to the belief of not being good enough. Because when you feel like you're not good enough, obviously you're going to be scared of judgment. You're going to be scared of saying the wrong thing, or you're just going to be scared that you won't be good enough to answer that question. You won't be good enough to hold that presentation, or whatever it is, whether you're going into a job interview or a first date. So all of that, all of these limiting beliefs I had, they were kind of feeding my anxiety. And then obviously I was always living in the future. I was constantly stressing about what's next. While I was having dinner, I was already thinking about what I'm gonna do tomorrow morning. So I was never present. I was never actually living fully in the present moment, and that is why my anxiety took over so much. And then, as I mentioned, this anxiety for me manifested as digestive issues and food intolerances. Because you have to think about it this way. Whatever we think, whatever we feel on a daily basis, all of that is energy. And that energy, it has to go somewhere. So when our mind is constantly generating these feelings of stress, worry, and anxiety, it has to go somewhere. So it sits in our body, and for me, it was in my digestive system, and that will create incoherence. Because I'm never healing it, and I'm constantly piling more and more and more on top of it. And eventually, something in our body will show us a physical symptom of what the mind is actually creating. The mind and the body, they are connected. They are communicating with each other all the time. Energy, it has to go somewhere. Our feelings, our emotions, they are pure energy. Our organs are energy. All of our major systems in our bodies are energy. Everything is interconnected. And once I understood this link, that it was actually me creating my digestive issues, that was how I was able to heal it. Because if I'm the creator of it, I must also be the healer of it, and nobody can do it for me. So what I did in order to heal my digestive issues, I joined the 1-0 sessions, the ones I recommend in pretty much all of my videos, because they have been so life-changing for me. And basically what I learned in these sessions was that I am the ultimate healer. Nobody can heal me for me. I have to do it because I'm the creator of it, and therefore I'm also the healer of it. So these sessions essentially empowered me to heal myself, to allow my consciousness to heal me. So basically throughout these sessions, and I've been doing them for 3 years now, I've been cleaning up my body, basically like a big old spring clean of my body, of my internal energy, my internal vibration. So I got rid of all of this anxiety from years and years and years and years, all of these negative emotions, all of these incoherent frequencies. That is basically what these sessions do. you learning how you can heal yourself, how your consciousness is the ultimate healer. So that is what I would recommend to absolutely anyone, because it just helps you to get back to a state where you can actually start to change your mindset. Because that is obviously the second thing I did. I had to understand that it was my mind creating the anxiety. It was my thoughts, my programs, my patterns, my loops. And in order to heal anxiety, I had to change my mindset. Because you can do amazing healing work. You can get rid of all of these incoherences in your digestive system or wherever it sits in your body. When your mind keeps piling it back on, you will just clear and clear and clear all day, every day, and it will just continue to persist because you bring it back. So what I did, first of all, I started to live in the present moment, to really consciously make an effort to live in a present moment. Because again, in the present moment, anxiety cannot exist. My anxiety would only exist when I was stressing about the future, when I was living in the future. So when your mind is telling you stuff like, oh, I will never find a relationship, or I will never get that job, I will never be able to provide for my family, what is going to happen if that person leaves, or when that person leaves, or when this happens. So we are playing these imaginative scenarios in our heads constantly about the future, and therefore we are living with anxiety. But once you understand that the future doesn't exist, it's an illusion, this anxiety is an illusion as well. So what I did, whenever my mind would tell me anything slightly negative about the future, I would always bring my attention and awareness back into the present moment. I would always say, actually, I consciously disagree with this, because right now I am here. And here, where I am, everything is wonderful. Where I am right now, this is where the magic happens. I can't live tomorrow. I can't live in the future. Nothing is promised except this present moment here right now. So I basically stopped having an attachment to my mind, because your mind, or our minds, they are not actually who we are. They are a program. We are programmed to think this way. We are programmed to live in the future constantly. And that is something I spoke about in my last video as well, how we can only live in a present moment. But society tells us, no, you have to think about your future. You have to stress about your future. You have to live in the future. You constantly have to distract yourself and do something. And that is creating so much stress and anxiety in our lives. So I stopped having an attachment to my own mind, to my thoughts. I recognized that my thoughts, they are not actually who we are. We have thousands of thoughts every single day, every single second of every single day. Our minds, they just don't shut up. However, we do have a choice what thoughts we give meaning to, what we actually listen to. So let's say I have 60,000 thoughts every single day. Imagine if I gave meaning to every single one of them. So every single thought you generate, basically, unless you're doing it consciously, happens in your subconscious mind. They just go off like fireworks. You're not consciously thinking about thoughts that create anxiety. They just pop up out of nowhere based on what we hear on the news all the time, what we hear on social media all the time, what other people tell us, what this world basically programmed us to be, how to think and how to act. So I let go of this attachment I had to my own thoughts, and I understood I choose what I give meaning to. So when my mind would tell me, for example, okay, you have this presentation next week and you need to stress about it, I would say in my mind, I consciously disagree with this, because next week is not even here yet. I am living right now here in the present moment. And when I have to hold that presentation, everything will be wonderful. Everything will be fantastic. Because why wouldn't it? Why would I immediately assume the worst possible outcome? Why wouldn't I assume everything is going to be wonderful? And this is where we can change our mindset. We can actually, in the moment, consciously redirect our thoughts. We don't have to engage with negativity. And you will also realize, once you stop feeding your negative thoughts, or the thoughts that create anxiety, with any energy, when you don't give them any attention, they will just pass like clouds in the sky. Again, we have thousands of thoughts every single day. When you stop giving meaning and power to a thought, it dissipates. There's literally nothing to it anymore. It's just a thought. That's all it is. It doesn't have to create any emotion in your body. And once I realized this, I stopped piling on new anxiety. I actually understood, okay, calmness and stillness can only be found in the present moment. I can't live in the future. I can't stress about the future. I can't constantly play these imaginative scenarios. I can't constantly listen to this inner dialogue all the time, because that is not who I am. And then everything changed. So for me, healing from anxiety also had a lot to do with letting go of the attachment to having anxiety. So if I labeled myself as, hi, I'm Anna, I have anxiety, how will I ever heal from it? Because I'm making it part of me. I'm making it part of my identity, part of who I am. No, I am not Anna, and I do not have anxiety. There's no self to begin with. So who has anxiety? It's all in the mind, and we choose whether or not we listen to it. So I stopped saying that I have anxiety. I started to recognize that I do have thoughts, for whatever reason, wherever they are coming from, and they dictate how I feel and think on a daily basis. That's all it is. But once I stopped giving meaning to those thoughts, anxiety couldn't exist anymore. Because whatever my mind was telling me that could go wrong in the future, that would actually create anxiety in my body usually, I didn't give meaning to it anymore. And therefore, the feeling, the stress, the worry, the anxiety, it disappeared. It wasn't there anymore. Because once this one stops, there's nothing. There's stillness. This is where we find back to our true selves, back to who we really are. And I know it's so easy to fall into this trap of saying, oh, I'm an anxious girly, or, making fun of it in a way. But the more we are saying it, the more we are actually keeping it alive. The more we are identifying with any type of illness, any type of condition, the more we just keep it present. We keep it here. We will never heal from it. So I let go of this identity. I let go of my thoughts. I let go of self in a way, because there is no self to begin with. We are consciousness. And this role we are playing here right now, yes, we do have a mind so we can experience this world, but that is not who we are. Once we transition back into consciousness, this is who we really are. And this was also part of the understanding that helped me to heal, to truly heal from within, understanding that I'm not actually who I think I am. And if my ego identity is not even who I am, then who actually has anxiety? So to summarize what we were talking about in this video, my anxiety stopped the second I stopped identifying with it, the second I changed my mindset, the second I stopped feeding these negative thoughts that would create anxiety in my life. And then also doing 1.0, doing coherence healing, so these emotions, this anxiety, this stuck energy could finally leave my body. Because think about this, maybe my anxiety started when I started school or kindergarten. So maybe I was like 4 or 5 years old. So that's a long time of anxiety piled up in my body. It has to get removed somehow. And that is the quickest way I know how to get rid of it. And that is why I recommend it to everybody I know. And since then, I do not feel anxiety anymore. Of course, there are situations in my life where you would feel like it's normal to feel a little bit anxious. Completely normal. But I always think of it this way. I feel like it would be justified if I was in the woods and I was chased by a bear to feel anxiety and stress. That would absolutely be justified. Me going into a job interview? No, not justified. Absolutely not. Going on a first date? Not justified to feel this anxiety. Speaking in the public? No, not justified. Because I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be seen and heard. There's nothing to feel anxious about. Calling the pizza service to order pizza? No reason to feel so much anxiety. And all the other imaginative scenarios, all of this other crap my mind used to tell me why I should feel so anxious, tests, exams, whatever it was, there's no reason to feel so much stress and anxiety. No reason at all. It's all happening in the mind, and it's all based on an illusion. It's all an illusion because the future doesn't exist. And therefore, these imaginative stories your mind is telling you, because you're not even your mind, that is an illusion as well. So it can't exist. Anxiety cannot exist this way. And that is how I healed this condition. And now I do not have anxiety anymore. It's not part of me anymore. It's not part of my life anymore. It's not an emotion I feel on a daily basis anymore. Because I recognize I can only live in the present moment. And in the present moment, everything is okay. In the present moment, when I find stillness, I find my true self. And within that true self, there's just love. There's nothing else. And while I'm in this state of stillness, presence, I can also make a positive impact in the world. But I can't change the world when I'm feeling anxious about the smallest little things all the time. Because that is literally just poisoning myself and making me live in a state I do not want to live in anymore. And I think that's all I have for today's video. I really hope you found it helpful and inspirational. I hope this was exactly what you needed to hear in order for you to understand that you can heal yourself. You can heal yourself from absolutely anything. I'm sending all of you so much love, and I will talk to you in my next video.